Hello, hello. Hi, guys. Welcome to I Am Power with Ixtel. I am so glad that you guys are on here. We're just starting. So go ahead and let me know you're here. Give me a thumbs up and share the broadcast with your friends so as many people can join us as possible. Usually we give it a couple minutes so many more people can log in. It takes a while. The reminders are going out. Facebook is sending out reminders that the Immigrant Mom is live. It's, another Thursday. We have so much to share, and I'm glad that you're joining us. So please go ahead and share. So as many people would join us, we'll give it just a few minutes and then we will get started. Once you log in, say hi so I can recognize you, so I can know that you are here. Let me take time and share it on my own Facebook profile so my friends can join, because I want them to hear everything that's going to be shared today. More people can log in. It takes a while. The reminders are going out. Oops, I know. Let me take time and share it on my own Facebook. It's a while. The reminders are going out. Oops. All right, that happens. You probably got the feedback, but that's because I was sharing on my page. Hey guys, welcome to the Immigrant Mom webinar. Well, today we're starting a series called I Am Power. Hi, Fumi. Thank you so much for joining. Go ahead and share this on your page. We're about to get encouraged by a powerful story. Thank you so much for joining us. Share as much as you can, so many more people can join us and we can get into it today. Let me know when you join so I can acknowledge you, and thank you for joining me on this busy Thursday evening. Hello. We'll give it just a few more minutes and we'll get started. Just a few more minutes so we can get the word around. My husband is sharing too. It's my number one fan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know. Go ahead and share. Let's get into this. Let's give it at 5:05 we'll get it rolling. Yeah. You ain't know Texas women do it bigger. In the South it gets more real, baby. All right, guys, here is the Immigrant Mom, and today we are starting a new series, and the series is titled I Am Power. Isn't it amazing that I am, which is Immigrant Mom Power? It just really sounds so empowering all by itself to say I am power. And thank you to our guest speaker today who bore patiently with me while I try to figure out what to call this series. And we're calling it I Am Power because this is a perfect opportunity for immigrant mothers, not limited to mothers alone, but immigrant parents who have a story of resilience, of courage, of vulnerability. We want a platform where we can share our stories, not just for that, but to encourage and motivate someone who just needs to know that because Ixtel did it, I can do it too. Because Jibs was able to overcome, I can overcome too. And that's what this segment is all about, bringing forth immigrant moms, immigrant parents, inspiring people with stories who will come on here and share. So there is a link in the comment section, which is like a nomination document. If you know someone who has a story that the world needs to hear, who overcame against all odds, who went through, who was able to scale their business, who started a business against all the odds, please go ahead and nominate them, because those are the type of people we want on this platform, so other people can see from their stories and learn a thing or two. For everyone who is joining us, welcome to the Immigrant Mom. The Immigrant Mom is an organization for immigrant mothers by immigrant mothers. We recognize that what we are doing is peculiar. We're raising children in a culture that we did not grow up in. We're raising children in an environment that we may not be so familiar. We're talking about immigrants who just came and immigrants that have been immigrants for a very long time. We come together, we share our knowledge, we share tips and tricks, we share things that we need to be better parents, to be better mothers, to be better women. We encourage each other as we build. So you're welcome. My name is Excel Mba Acha. I am the founder of the Immigrant Mom. I am an immigrant from Cameroon with 2 little children of my own. Please don't mind if you hear them screaming upstairs. They're very well active and busy. So please go ahead and share if you're just joining us. And the whole essence of sharing is so other people can tune in and log into what we have. Before I would go ahead and call on our guest for today, there are just a couple things that I wanted to share, which will be the norm of what we do. I would share a couple tricks, and then a couple tips, and then we will call on the guest. But for today, I wanted to talk to you guys briefly about knowing who your neighbors are. We're all new in this country, or some people have been here for a while, but it's very important for you to know who lives by you, in the sense that you want to know if your neighbors are registered sex offenders. Many people may not know, but in the United States, if you have ever committed a sex offense, you are required, committed and convicted, you are required to register. So if a person has committed and been convicted of a sex offense, then they would register in the registry. And if you put in your zip code or put in your address, it can tell you the nearest sex offender that is to you. And to many people's surprise, they have done this search and realized that the person next door or the person couple doors down the street has been convicted of a crime like that. It matters. If you're ever going to be thinking about carpooling or letting a neighbor Billy take your child to school, this is very important information that I think we need to know. And so if you are in the US, I know different countries have their own registries. It's different for Canada and it's different for the United States. And every state also may have their registry. So if you're in Texas, you want to look at I think is the Texas Sex Offender Registry. Another good website, which I will put on the comments section, is familywatchdog.us. familywatchdog.us. You can put in your address and it would tell you how close you are to a sex offender or how far you are from a sex offender. It is very important so we know these things and we don't put our children in harm's way. Okay. With that said, and if you need any more information about this, please feel free to send me a message, ping me, private message me, DM me. I would respond really quickly on the websites that would be good for you to find out where you're staying before you buy a house and all that good stuff. Moving forward, we might want to talk about the elephant in the room. Not that it's an elephant, but it's quite been an interesting set of days with what we see going on in Minnesota, with what happened to George Floyd. This is a very sensitive time in the United States, in the West, all around the world as we witness this level of racial injustice. Here, the Immigrant Mom, we send our condolences and our sympathies to the family. But it's a topic that I believe it's right about time for us to talk about, being that we are immigrant mothers in this country. And this is not about whether you agree that there is racial injustice. That's besides the point. The point here is, if there is, How willing or how prepared are you to make sure that your children have the right information that they need if they get pulled over, or if they find themselves in a situation which there is some kind of chaos or jeopardy? What does your child need to know to be best prepared in order not to be a casualty? We're going to have a speaker next 2 weeks who has been able to have the talk with her son, because it's not just telling them, it's knowing that you have to protect their innocence. You have to tell them in a way that does not instill an inferiority complex, and this would apply most especially to immigrant moms of color. So look forward to that invite, and we will be having that in about 2 weeks or so. All right. Without further ado, I want us to dive right into I Am Power for today. I can't tell you guys how excited I am about the guest speaker that we have here today. Her name is Councillor Jibs Abitoye. And when I heard her, or when I read her story the first time, I was blown away, because there are not many people that are able to overcome grief and still have the resilience that they need to push forward and attain what they have to attain. I would just want to introduce her briefly by reading her bio before I would bring her onto the live stream, and just so you guys know a little bit about who we're talking with today. Jibs Abitoye was elected as a councilwoman for the city of Fort Saskatchewan. Oh my goodness. In October of 2017, 5 years after immigrating to Canada from Nigeria. She has a bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Lagos. She's a certified project management professional. She completed a 4th class power engineering course at an institution in Canada. She has years of work experience in financial institutions. And last year, she started a fashion line. And after 3 months she started a fashion line 3 months after was in the prestigious New York Fashion Week showcase. This woman, I am telling you, she has, through her fashion business, has empowered low-income women in Africa. She's supported organizations supporting victims of domestic violence. She is volunteered on the Family and Community Support Service Board, the Navy League Cadet, and as the chair of 4th Saskatchewan. I'm doing my best. Jibs is an encourager and loves to show women that anything they dream of is possible. She believes in breaking limitations and emerging as a giant in whatever field that you find yourself. If we were in a room, I would say please give a standing ovation, but we're not. But please welcome Jibs Abitoye. Thank you so much, Jibs, for joining me today to encourage the immigrant mom. When we talk about the immigrant mom, you are the epitome of who she represents. And today we would just want to hear all about your story. Please go ahead and introduce yourself so the audience can know who you are.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. And what you said was so powerful. Like, really, you should know your neighbor. Right. And you talked about the registry in Dallas. And because I live in Canada, it's called the National Sex Offenders Registry Database in Canada. And in Alberta is Alberta Sex Offenders Information Registry. So really, you should know your neighbor. If there is a registered sex offender, you should know, because especially if you have little girls or little boys.
Right.
And you know what? You should know your neighbor, even just generally speaking. You should know your neighbor just to know who's living right next to you, you know, so you can provide support for each other and all of that. So anyways, so thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here to be able to speak with immigrant moms like myself, and you're doing an amazing job. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you so much. So like, you already introduced me, so I'm not sure.
Well, you know, let's go a little bit, you know, to the back, to those who didn't hear it. Where are you originally from, and how long have you been in Canada?
Okay, absolutely. So my name is so my full name is Ajibola Abitoye. So my family just always called me Jibs as a nickname growing up. And so moving to Canada, I'm like, I'm just gonna go with Jibs because it kind of sounds cool,
Right,
So,
right. It does sound cool.
So I did go with Jibs when I moved here, but that's not my legal name. My legal name is Ajibola. So I'm from the western part of Africa, Nigeria, and I'm also from the western part of Nigeria. So I'm a Yoruba girl. I'm from Ondo State in Nigeria. That's where I'm originally from.
Nice. Okay.
So I've lived in Canada. I moved to Canada almost 8 years ago. It's gonna be 8 years by next month. So I'm just gonna share a little story. So right after school, right after I finished in university, I graduated from University of Lagos with the BS in economics. I worked in a bank, and the bank paid very well. So in Nigeria, unlike North America, in Nigeria, after the oil companies, the next is banks. Banks pay good, right? So I had a good paying job, and it was great, But after some time, I started to feel really stagnated, and life just seemed to pause for me. I started to feel unfulfilled. I mean, I had great colleagues. Don't get me wrong; it wasn't an issue of my colleagues, but it was an issue of me being unfulfilled, not doing what my heart was crying to do. Guess what? Bills had to be paid, and so I stuck there. But when the opportunity came for me to immigrate, I said to myself, never again. I'm not going to settle. I have a new lease to life. I'm going to take risks. I'm going to try new things. I'm going to do what I have to do. Like, what do I have to do if I try it?
Right.
For me, I said, look, even if I try things and I failed at it, it's not really failure. For me, failure is really lessons learned. Because you know what? It becomes a tool that you take into your future that you can use for other things in your future. So for many of us, we really want to try things. We really want to leave that job that really pisses us off, or that boss that just freaking pissing us off, and try something new. So let's start a business. And by the way, more than at any time, this is the best time to start a business. Companies like Coca-Cola, Disney, those companies started in we're not in a depression yet, but started in a time like this, when everything was so unstable. And see the giants they are today, So my point is, if you're thinking of doing something, do it right now.
Right, and it's when you put it that way, I think about a quote that I often think about that says, "New lands are only discovered when you decide to leave the seashore." If you decide to stay on the shore for the safety of it, you will never discover new lands. But when you take a step off the shore and all the insecurities, there is fear for sure. There is going to be fear, but there's a new land ahead. Well, I wanted to ask you about, we've called you Councillor Jibs, and everybody wants to hear it, including me. We want to know, what is this about? How can you, an immigrant, a young, beautiful woman from Nigeria, become a councillor in Canada? Tell me, how did you get there, and what was the passion behind it?
Okay, so first of all, remember I talked about my banking job if I moved here?
Right.
And then as I immigrated here, as soon as my feet stepped on this land, I'm a Christian, and I take the word of God very seriously. I use affirmations, because affirmations are powerful. Everyone should be using them. Right. As soon as my feet stepped on this land, I said, this land God has given to me to possess, and I possess my possession in this land. Now, what you said yesterday is exactly what you have today. Right. And what you will be in future, what you would have in future, is what you're saying today. So you need to check what you're saying today. So 8 years ago, I moved here because of love. I got married to my husband. He was already living here. Okay. And the first thing I started to do was I started to volunteer. I started
volunteering. Okay.
Immigrant. I started to volunteer. I started to sit on boards. There was a language barrier. Like, I've spoken English all my life. But moving here, I couldn't hear what people were saying. I'm not joking. Like, we went to a restaurant to eat, and like, at that time, I told my husband, you have to order my food because I can't hear what they're saying. I laugh at it right now, but it was my reality. Like, I sat on board meetings that I couldn't hear what people were saying. But you know what? I showed up the next meeting. But and things started to get clearer and clearer and clearer. And today, like, I mean, I don't have a language barrier issue because I hear what people say. But it wasn't like that in the beginning. There was a serious language barrier there, and people would tell me, oh, you can't get a proper job. You have to have Canadian experience, or you have to have gone to a Canadian school to have a proper job. You have to work in a McDonald's or a Walmart, that kind of job. I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. And so my husband advised me. My husband is an amazing supporter. So he advised me and said, you know what? You have banking
Shout
experience.
out to your husband. Is he watching us?
He's a workaholic.
Okay, we'll watch it later. And know that we gave a shout out to him. Very important.
We'll tell him. Okay, so he's like, you know what? You have banking experience. Why don't we go to the banks around us and just tell them that you're looking for a job, that you have banking experience? I'm like, sure, let's do this. And so this is like maybe I was just 1 week in Canada or 2 weeks in Canada. And so we go to the bank. And so what I do, I go in, I'm like, can I see your branch manager? And so they think, oh, it's a customer that wants to see the branch manager. And you're like, okay, yeah, we'll get the branch manager. And the branch manager is like, oh, come on into my office. Would you like a coffee and all of that, charades? And I'm like, and they're like, so how may I help you? I'm like, here's my resume. I have banking experience. I need a job. And we went to like 5 banks. And they were all like, oh, you have to apply online. We can't give you a job here. But one of the banks I went to, the lady was like, I think you'll be an amazing asset to this bank. There's going to be an open house in next week. Here's the information. I'm going to tell the branch manager to look out for you. Wow. And so I go for this open house, and there was like at least 200 people there. There was a lot of people there. And so everyone kind of got 5 minutes, you know how open houses are. They just take you in, talk to you for 5 minutes. If they like you, like, okay, come next time. Come, they'll give you a second interview. If they don't, then that's it. They're like, okay, we'll get back to you next time.
Right.
And so I did get a second interview. And so I go for the second interview. And so while I was being interviewed by these 2 ladies, a third lady walks in and she introduces herself to me. And I introduce myself back to her. And she's like, oh, you're Jibs. Oh, the lady, the branch manager in XYZ branch. I don't remember the name of the branch right now. And told me about you. And that day he was so busy. I could not find you. There was over 200 people here. How are you? It's so nice to meet you. I don't believe in coincidences. I do not. I believe that God orchestrates things for us and makes things work out for us. So the next day, I got an email saying I got a job in a bank. I had my own office. Like when I was in Nigeria, I didn't even have my own office. I did have
on my face. Like, okay.
Yeah. So
and the moment right here, like, when we come here as immigrants, right, we tend to think that because we speak a different language or have an accent, we are in some shape or form inferior. And right here is a story that says, no, you are not. Recognize who you are and what you have and your experience and step into it. As many times as they say, is as many times as you repeat yourself.
Exactly. I am not afraid. I'm not ashamed of that.
With no fear or say it again, you will say it again. But you stand knowing who you are. I have another friend who just commented on my earrings. Hi, Janet. And she says, thank you. She says the same thing, that she came with an experience, and within a very short period of time, she came with experience, I think, working in a bank or in a financial institution, and she was able to get a job by presenting without the extra certifications. I'm not against certifications. I'm not against going to school, but I'm for you knowing who you are and having that confidence to be able to walk into a bank and say, here's my resume, I need a job.
Absolutely. And so I got a job and I started to work on the job. And while I was on that job, I wrote my PNP, and so I became a project management professional. And 6 months into the job, I was like, I'm not feeling challenged on this job anymore. I'm meeting my targets. I feel like there's something more for me out there. And so I started to apply for project management or project controls roles. And so I was getting like interviews with Shell, ExxonMobil flew me to Calgary. I was just getting these big companies interviews, but I didn't get any call back. None.
So you go for the interviews and they won't call you back?
No.
Okay.
You just don't hear back from them. That's it.
Right.
In fact, one of them, while I was walking into my car to go for the interview, they're like, oh, sorry, it was supposed to be a contract role. Sorry, the project, they canceled the project, so there's no need for you to come for the interview. I was so I remember it so well. But so I stayed in this job for 1 year. And at the end of 1 year, I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. I think it's time for me to move on. I think it's time for me to move on. And so what I did was I quit the job and I decided to go and study power engineering part-time. Now, the reason I did power engineering is even though I had an economics degree, I felt like I always wanted to be an engineer. And this is an opportunity that's been provided for me. You know, that's the thing about here at this place. Like, you just have opportunities to do whatever. You can be whatever you want to be, whatever. And I'm like, this is an opportunity. I'm going to take it. I'm not even going to get into the story of how I got into power engineering, but I did get into power engineering. But it was part-time.
What is power engineering for those who don't know? Because I don't know what it is.
Power engineers are the ones that produce the steam that they use in plants, right? So you have to generate steam to power a pump, or I don't want to start getting into details, like maybe power a pump or run some sort of equipment. Sometimes you need steam to generate the power that those things use, right? So the main job of a power engineer is the operators that work in plants and run the plants.
Okay.
They ensure that steam is produced, you know, for whatever equipment's needed. So I did the power engineering, and I started doing the power engineering. So I quit my job, and 2 weeks after I quit my job, I got a call from one of the companies I had done an interview with 6 months before, that the job is now out, is now available. That am I interested in taking it? This job was paying me 150% more than I was earning in the bank.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wait, so did I have to quit for that job to come, or what's happening here? And I'm saying that to say that sometimes when you want something, you have to let go of what's in your hand.
Say it louder.
You have to let go of what's in your hand, really. So I got this Dow job as a project controller. I was there for like a year, and then I got pregnant. I started to have babies. So I was at home for like 16 months or so. And during the US elections with Hillary and Donald Trump, I started to get, like, I'm not very interested. I'm not someone that's very interested in politics. Like, my husband is like, woo, woo, yeah, let's talk about politics. My dad as well. I've never been one that was really interested in politics, right? But that year, I just really followed closely. And I'm like, you know what? I'm really interested in politics. I think I'm really interested. I think I'm really interested in politics. I'd like to be able to make some changes.
Right.
And so I had a discussion with my husband, and it's like, oh, why don't you run for council in our city? I'm like, really? Do you hear yourself?
Let me understand this. You can just run for council even though you're not participating in, like, or what does it take? Maybe that's the right question. What does it take to run for council?
Okay, so in order for you to run for council, first of all, you have to be a citizen.
Okay.
Number two, so the rules are very basic. Like any party, even like for you to join any party, it's very basic. You just have to be a citizen. You just have to be at least 18 years old, and you have to not have been in jail or whatever. Those are the three major things. Okay. You know, just like any other party. But the work comes to where the work is people actually
need to know you.
Represents them.
Right.
You're actually representing them. You're the one that's making the decisions that would affect my life.
Right.
You understand? So the big thing is really getting to that point where people can actually trust that you can represent them, or that you have similar values as they have, right?
Right.
So when I decided I was going to do it, so first of all, I was like, no, it's not possible. I can't do it. First of all, I'm not a Canadian citizen. At this point, I was just 4 years in Canada. I wasn't even quite 4 years in Canada. You know, I'm like, I'm not a Canadian citizen. I'm new. Who's going to listen to me? You know, I'm Black. And I have an accent, you know, so I decided to count all those negative things, you know.
And those are the things that we normally tell ourselves when we're trying to convince ourselves not to go forward for an opportunity.
That is right. And so when my husband said, I'm like, oh no, I just pushed it aside. And then what I started to do was I started to research. Okay. I started to research, and the more information I found, the more I realized that actually this is not impossible. I can do this thing. I can do it. So information is everything. Sometimes information is what's between you and where you want to go to. And that's why you need coaches and mentors. Let me quickly speak on this. I have a coach and a mentor, two different people. Now, my coach keeps me accountable and makes sure that, okay, these are your goals. I'm going to make sure that you actually achieve those goals. I'm going to keep asking you and keep pushing you to achieve your goals. But my mentor is a subject matter expert. And so what she does is she connects me to people to ensure that my goals are actually achieved. So you know what? Everyone needs a coach and a mentor, because you know what? They shorten that journey for you. They give you that information you need to take you from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
So back to my story, as soon as I decided that, okay, I'm going to do this, all of a sudden things started to align for me. So my citizenship took 3 months. I became a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
I met with my MP, and he just gave me support. I just started to meet with all kinds of people, and things just started to align for me. All of a sudden, a position to become the chair of board was open. You see, again, back to God orchestrate things for our good, but you have to be ready to rise up.
Right.
You have to be ready to rise up. He's not going to pull you up and say, okay, you have to do this.
Right.
No, you have to be ready and available for him to use you.
Yes.
So God,
let me just slip in here, because we have a couple teaching points which I don't want to just, I want us to just take note of what she's saying. Being ready to rise up when there is the opportunity. I think most immigrants are contented with the bare minimum. And that's just because we want just enough to pay the bills and just survive. Meanwhile, we're walking away from a table with a lot that is there for us. We'll have to come to a point where we're saying, I have traveled this far and it cannot be in vain.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I have given up so much and it cannot be in vain. Mm-hmm. For all that I know and all that I will be, I will put in my very best till I get everything on the table set out for me and more.
Absolutely.
Jibs, continue. This is a good story.
Absolutely. Honestly, like, we limit ourselves by ourselves.
Right.
There is nothing that's impossible. Honestly, that's one of my mantras. There is nothing. As long as I want it, as long as I see someone who has that thing that I'm looking for, as long as I can see someone that has that thing, then it's possible.
Right.
So we ran the election. I ran against 14 other candidates. I was the only non-white person.
Wow.
Right. I had the third highest vote. So the way it works is that the top 6 highest votes get elected. I had the third highest vote out of all 15. When I was going door knocking and working, like the kind of messages I was getting at the doors was just amazing. Like people would say, "Oh my God, I've heard so much about you. We think you'll be an amazing councillor in this city." Like there were days that I would go out door knocking, and I'm like God, how is this even possible? How is this even, like, for me, like even just the whole experience was amazing, So I did it because I wanted to experience it. But winning was just the icing on the cake for me. It was just mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. Right. So really that's how we happened. I became councillor in 2017, and so right now I've served almost 3 years. We're coming on 3 years. The term is going to be up by next year in October. And since then, honestly, I see it as a privilege to be able to serve my community and just represent people and just be a voice of the vulnerable and just, make decisions that affect the lives of people. That's a powerful and that's a place that I do not take for granted. And I'm very, very thankful for it.
Do you have aspirations to rerun, or do you have further aspirations within politics in Canada?
So right now, I'm still thinking about it. I haven't decided. Right now, I'm still thinking in the affirmative. I still have over a year to go. So there's still a lot of time to really, really think and digest it. My family's gotten a bit bigger because when I became husband, I still had 2 kids. Now I have 3, I've got a business. I didn't have a business when I started, so there's a lot of things in the works for me right now, but I'm just going to let God lead me as I always do everything.
And this next question I'm about to ask you is in the light of your advice to people who put excuses as a reason for not doing what they have to do. Now, here's the question. How were you able to do all this as a wife and a mom? I don't know if you had a job or not, but how were you able to put all of this together and still be successful at it?
So, first of all, no one can exist without a support system. As human beings, we're not islands. You need a support system. And I have a very strong support system, and I'm very thankful for it. My family, my father, my brothers are far away in Nigeria. So I am the only member of my extended family. So like my parents and my siblings that's here. So I'm by myself. I've got my husband, and he's got some family in the US, and in Canada and somewhere in Toronto. But that's not like I'm by myself here, but I have support in my husband. I have support in my friends. I have support in my church community. I have a nanny that helps me with my kids. Mm-hmm. So I have a support system, and I'm thankful for it. But you know what? Everybody might not be privileged. Not everybody might have a husband that's that's like, oh yeah, go for your dream. Right. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way for everybody. Mm-hmm. But you need to find someone in your circle that believes in you, that believes in your dream, that's ready to push you. And that's why I talked about getting a coach and a mentor. You need it. You need it. Look, so like for me, my coach and my mentor, I pay them, right?
Oh, you do?
I do, yes.
Okay.
But if you find someone that will do it for you for free, please go ahead. Like I also mentor youth that don't pay me, So it depends. You just find someone that will be in your corner to encourage you and make you and push you, into that dream and those goals you set for yourself.
I know at the end of this discussion, there's going to be a lot of people who would say, Jibs, I want you either to be my coach or to be my mentor. How can I reach you? So, I would, if you would, want to share that information at the end of the show, we'll talk, there'll be time to talk about that and when you can give.
Absolutely, no problem.
Give that information.
I'm just trying to say that it's important that you have someone in your corner that is pushing you, because again, we're human beings. Sometimes we get drained. You just don't. There are days you just don't feel that fire burning in your bones. Like for me, I totally have those days. When my kids are just like all over me, and that work is I'm just drained. We're human beings. We have those days, but you need people in your corner that will remind you and say, "Hey, this is not the goal. Remember the goal. Set your eyes on the prize. What are you doing right now to get that goal? If your goal in 5 years," and sorry, I should say something as well. I want to talk about the power of vision board. The power of vision board.
Yes, I agree.
Vision boards are so powerful. I'll give you a story. In 2018, I had a vision board. I put it on my wall. Mm-hmm. By the end of the year, I looked at that board. Like 95% of everything on that board had come through.
Oh, wow.
2019, I had a vision board as usual. Put it on my wall. I had to take it down earlier in the year to paint my wall. Mm-hmm. I took it down. I never put it back up. And so by the end of 2019, when my coach was talking about doing a vision board for 2020, I remembered, oh, that's true. I have a vision board. Let me go find it. And I go look for it. And I bring it out. Guess how many things I had achieved on that vision board? Can you guess? None. And that made me realize how powerful vision boards are. Vision boards are so powerful. So fine, we're in June right now. It's never too late. You can still create a vision board for yourself. In fact, maybe I should talk about my business. Are you there? I can't see you anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to keep talking. I hope if you're in the chat and you can hear me, can you say something? So I'm not seeing her anymore. Okay, I'm just going to keep talking about the vision board. So talking about vision board, when I was beginning of last year, I was trusting God for a business to do, and I'm not sure if people are hearing me. Are you there? Oh, you can hear me. Perfect. Thank you, Renia. Thank you. Okay, perfect. I'm going to keep going. Okay, so early last year, I was praying to God for a business. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Belle. Thank you, Insane. Thank you. Okay, early last year, I was praying to God for a business to start, and through by the inspiration of the Spirit, I felt like God was leading me to start a fashion business, and I started the fashion business. And I started this fashion business in November 2019. Now, when I was creating my vision board for 2020, I had New York Fashion Week on my vision board. Now, the reason I had New York Fashion Week on my vision board was for me to work towards it and go in 2021. But now I had New York Fashion Week on my vision board. 3 months after I started my business, I went to New York Fashion Week. 3 months as a fashion designer to showcase my collection. Now, this blows my mind because vision boards are so powerful. So if you don't have a vision board, you should get on it. They are so powerful, because you know what, as human beings, our subconscious interacts with those pictures. We're very visual as human beings. Every time you see those pictures and see those words, every morning you wake up, you see it. Every night you're sleeping, you see it. Your subconscious carries it, and before you know it, starts to come to pass in your life. So vision board, very important. I don't know why I'm not seeing Excel. Excel is still here. Maybe there's something wrong with her internet. Maybe I should keep talking. Okay, anyway, I'm just gonna keep talking. I'm gonna keep talking until she comes. Okay, so if you're listening, I'm not sure how many people are on the line, right? The host has joined the podcast. Okay, finally she's back. Okay, I was just gonna say that if you're listening on the line, I want you to know that you have a message. You have a message.
I'm sorry about that, Jibs. I'm right here. I had some technical difficulties. I apologize.
It happens all the time. No problem. I was just going to keep going and going, but since you're here, I'm just going to wait and let you go ahead. Thank you, Belle. I need to try out.
Oh, give me 1 second.
Powerful.
Can you hear me?
I can.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can.
I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. We have some technical. No, I can't hear. Just give me a second. Let me try to figure it out.
Sure.
Oh my goodness. What's going on?
Okay, I think she's gone again. So I'm just gonna keep going. So vision boards are very powerful, but what I wanted to say is that your message is needed. Your message needs to be heard. Whatever your message is, whatever you've been through in life, that message needs to be heard. Usually we always ask ourselves, like, who am I to do this? Who am I to start this business? Or who am I to apply for this job? Or who am I to be aspiring to this great dream that's in my heart?
Jibs, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Perfect. I'm so sorry, guys. These things happen, and I'm so glad that we're back. I apologize for it. Please carry on.
Okay, so no, I was just talking about the importance of sharing your message. You know, do what you love and serve with it. When you serve with it, if it's money will come.
Right.
Money will come. You know, small steps every single day, because you know what? Everyone has a gift. God has deposited wonderful, amazing things inside of every one of us.
Right. Let me just answer. Somebody from the audience, Irania, is asking if there's a Facebook group I can join. Not sure how I got to the page, but I love the message. Yes, there's a group. It's called the Immigrant Mom. If you search for it, you'll find it and you can join us. Jibs, I wanted to ask a question, because a lot of people who have seen the post know that you lost your mom. And that you lost your mom few days after you moved to Canada. It has not all been rosy, and that's what we're saying. Please just tell us, what was it like for you?
So my mom was the closest person to me when it happened. My mom was a very spiritual person. She raised me to believe in God and just trust in Him in everything I do. When I was leaving Nigeria, she was the last person I saw, because I mean, my whole family was there. My husband's whole family. You know how Nigerians are, Africans are. You know, we just come, like, someone is leaving the country, you know, the whole family was at the airport with me, you know. But my mom just kept following me. Like, while I was going through immigration, she just kept waving and waving. And I swear to God, I didn't realize that was my last time I was going to see her. she just kept waving. I see her even right now in my mind's eye. And every day when I was here, she would call me and we'll speak every day. And we'll pray together. We're just so close. And 3 weeks after I immigrated to Canada, we got a call at 1 a.m. We're actually sleeping, and the phone just kept ringing, and we're like, "Who is this person that's calling us at this ungodly hour?" And it happened to be my pastor. And my pastor was like, "Can I speak to your husband?" I'm like, "Why is my pastor calling my husband at 1 a.m.?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure." And then I give the phone to my husband, and my husband, I actually at first pretended like there was nothing. And Lisa is like, "Can we sit down and talk?" And he eventually told me what happened. I'm like, "There's no way. Like, if it doesn't happen to anybody, it can't be my mother, because my mother was a spiritual person. She could see the future. Like, that woman, I feared she literally knew what was going to happen in the future. She would tell you." And I was like, "What kind of spirit is in this woman?" So I was like, "How can she die? It's not possible." But it actually happened to happen. It was a fire and she didn't survive. And I said to myself that there's no way I'm going to go and see my mom that way. No way.
So you didn't go for the burial?
I didn't go for the burial. I stayed. And they had to bury her quickly because of the state of her body. It was right. So they couldn't keep it like forever. Like they would usually keep dead bodies for some time. No, they had to bury her quickly too. So I didn't go. I stayed. It was very tough. It was very tough because out here I am in a new country, still trying to understand my environment. Everything new, no family or friends, and I'm here by myself, and then I lose my mother, who was like the closest person to me. It was very tough, but my husband was a great supporter. Like, he took the next week off, just stayed at home with me. In fact, I got, like, as much as I was so close to God, I got upset with God. I'm like, "God, how could you? How could you?" I was really mad at God. And I mean, because to me, I'm like, "Yeah, God, you know everything. How can you let someone die?" But we eventually fixed our relationship. But I did get really busy. So I talked about volunteering. So I was volunteering on boards, doing things, just to, not just as a soul, but just to be able to give back and to be able to just, find peace within myself. It was a hard time. It was a hard time. 5 years after, we eventually went to just, pay homage and just do like the whole shebangs. But it was hard. Like, up to now, I believe that she's gone to a far country and she's traveled. I'm gonna see her someday, but it was a really tough pill to swallow.
And I like that you share this because, a lot of people that I know personally have lost a parent since they immigrated. And, some of them were able to go back, some of them were not. And, it's a kind of pain that, you would have to wear that shoe to know how it feels. And it could be so crippling. But, you are an encouragement here today to say, look, it's happened to me. It's not strange happening to you. It's happened to you, who is on the show today, and you are able to grieve and still come out and do what your mom will be proud to watch you do today.
The truth is that when it comes to grief, like, especially like when you're trying to talk to someone who's lost someone, like they don't, even if you're saying, "Oh, I'm sorry about everything," they don't even get it. But when you've been through that same thing before them, they get it. They know that you've been there before. So the reason I said that actually is because before this question, you asked me, I was talking about the importance of sharing your message. Everyone has a message. Everyone that's listening to me right now, you have a message. And there's someone that needs to hear that message. Someone needs to hear that message. I just forgot to say that.
Right. So in light of everything that is going on, in light of your life, your business, your family, what can you say has been your strategy for success?
In line of everything, so I'm not sure which one you're talking about, COVID-19 or George Floyd.
COVID-19, George Floyd.
Right now. A lot of things happening right now. So the truth is, let's start with COVID-19. So one way I take care of myself mentally is that I don't really watch the news. I really, really filter what I listen to, because I realize I'm a very visual person. And once like when I watch a movie, for example, I'm dreaming about that movie. If I listen to whatever music I'm listening to during the day, it's playing in my head throughout. That's the kind of person I am. So it's important you know yourself. So I know myself, and so I don't listen to. I don't watch all news. And when COVID-19 happened, just because I'm of my position in the city, I had to be following the news because decisions had to be made. Close recreation facilities, decisions had to be made. So I had to not avoid the news. And I realized it started to affect me mentally, not just mentally, even physically. And so what I started to do was I started to create a schedule. I segmented my day. So I segmented my day into morning, afternoon, evening, 3 segments. And in each segment, because I'm also someone that I need to see that I'm actually productive. I start to feel like, oh my God, what's going on? I need to do something. So these 3 segments, I make sure I have these 6 things. So follow me. Number 1, mindset work. I have to do a mindset work in between each segment. Now, you don't have to be so strict, right? You can have it maybe once a day, but this is what I do. Mindset work. So mindset work can be journaling, affirmations, meditations. So do some sort of mindset work. Then I do some sort of spiritual work. So that's praying, reading the word of God, worship. Then I do work with my kids. So because kids are being homeschooled right now, I have to, find time to, homeschool them. So we do like homeschooling, we do their schoolwork, we take them out to the park. Sometimes we turn our sitting room to a soccer pitch and we're just like kicking balls up and down, just have fun with the kids. Number 4, I do husband. I call everything work. I do my husband work, meaning I check in with him. So it might be 10 minutes. We just sit down and chat. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Because we're all working from home, right? And so we do check in. Talk about not the kids, not work right now. Let's talk about us. How are you doing? Are you doing all right? So we check in with each other. Number 5, I do housework. Now I don't like housework. So I don't like housework. So I always put it to later. But housework is one of the things that I put in those segments. Then finally, strategy, which is my work. So I work on my job as a counselor. I work on my business. And then I'm writing a book. I work on my writing, right? So these 6 things are the things I put in each segment. And at the end of the day, I'm able to take stock. I'm like, oh, wow, yes, I did this, because I already had a to-do list, which I followed through. Now, I'm not trying to make, and like, I don't drive myself crazy. If I'm not able to do everything, I don't guilt myself into, like, even my kids' schoolwork. There are times like last week, like we didn't do schoolwork until we did schoolwork maybe once in the week, and maybe did schoolwork on Saturday. I don't drive myself crazy because you know what, life happens, things happen.
Right.
So you just need to be able to reschedule your days so that you're able to do everything at least within 1 week and not within 1 day. So this is what I try to do in my day, those 6 things. I also have a 4-step process I use for myself. So nutrition, so I call it news, nutrition, exercise, wardrobe, switch. So number 1 is nutrition. I make sure I eat food that are brain rich. So things like avocado, olive oil. These are things that make me alert, mentally alert, right? I eat food that are high in fiber, right? So to give me energy for my day. Then number 2, exercise. I wake up at 7:30 every morning. And the first thing I do is I go work out. Because you know why? It's very easy to wake up and say, oh, let's sing, let's pray, let's meditate, But if you wake up and do the hard thing first, everything in your day will align. So I wake up.
That is good. You just gave me a new strategy.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I do. And you know what? I'm someone I've been to the gym twice in my life. When I was getting married, after I had my second son. That's it. I'm not a workout geeko. I'm not into fitness. But this time I realized how important it is for my mindset. My mindset. It's so I can't even overemphasize how important exercise is. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I just do Zumba and I do some high intensity workout for like 15 minutes and I do Zumba for another 15 minutes and that's it. But it's important that you work out. And then wardrobe. It's important for me to wake up in the morning, even though I'm at home. I don't have to be in my PJs all day. Oh, I'm not trying to say I'm not in my PJs all day. There are days I'm in my PJs all day. But there are days I wake up and I dress up because it makes me feel like, oh my God, I am the boss. Right. So that's another way I'm able to take care of another process of my process. I take care of myself. And then switch is my mind. I make sure I read every day Girl, right now I have 3 books. I'm reading 3 books.
Let me look at what you're reading. Show us what you are
reading. Cardone. I'm reading Traffic Secrets by Russell Brunson. I'm also reading one of the books called The Goal, but I don't remember who the author is right now, but amazing. I'm reading 3 books right now. My husband's like, how many books have you finished? I'm like, at least I'm reading.
Oh my goodness. That is, I mean, it's so great, the things that you have shared with us and the time. We're almost at the top of the hour, so we're getting ready to round up.
55 minutes. I don't believe it.
When you're having fun, you don't realize how fast time goes. But this has been amazing. I told you from the start, I'm so inspired by you. And I know a lot of people who have watched us today are so inspired. But I just want to give you this maybe 2 minutes to share, the few last things on your mind for the immigrant mom.
So really, my last comment is going to be around George Floyd and what's happened. It's heartbreaking. It's terrible, But the most important thing right now is we need to it's like terminologies. We need to be clear on terminologies, like things like white privilege. People get upset about, or when you get white, they get upset when you say they have white privilege. But the truth is that everybody has privilege. Like I have privilege because even though a lot of people talk about having racism issues, I've never really had a racism issue. That's a privilege for me. Mm-hmm. So we need to realize that we all have our privileges. But what are we doing right now to help the situation? And what I'm doing right now, I said I'm going to register a not-for-profit, and I'm going to get government grants to educate people and get people to start having those conversations.
Right.
I'm going to pack that to the side. Most importantly, as an immigrant mom, one, you need to know that you are powerful.
Yes.
You are powerful, more than you could ever think, imagine. You are powerful. Whatever it is that's in your heart to do, you can do it. But you just have to take one step at a time. Look for someone that you see that you know is doing what you want to do. It might be someone from afar. It doesn't have to be someone that will mentor you. Because sometimes your mentors might be someone that is so far off you can't really reach them. Look for someone that inspires you and follow them. Or look for someone that you can reach out to them and tell them what you need them to help you with. And also don't drive you crazy over those kids. Right now, they're very young. Before you know it, they're out of the house. So enjoy the time.
Right.
And I want to say, I also have affirmations. So if anybody's interested in affirmations or like the schedule, I have like a segment schedule that I use. If anybody's interested in that, just let me know. I can send it to you.
Yeah. And that's the next thing I was going to say, because I know a lot of people will want to reach you. Either they would want for you to be their mentor, to be their coach, or just need this for you to share these tips with them. What is the best way? How can they reach you?
I think the best way is really email. I can share my email with you. It's jibs@divinityfashion.com.
Jibs.
You can type in the comments. So Jibs, JIBS at Divinity, so divine ity fashion.com.
Is there an E in divinity?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's divine, then ity fashion.com. Or you can reach me on social media. If you want me to share a link of the affirmations I use and the segmented schedule I use,
that would be great.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
That would be awesome. And I would say, what you have shared is really great. And these are things that I implement in my own life. I have learned a couple more from you, which I plan on incorporating. I cannot overemphasize the importance of a vision board.
Oh, yeah.
I had a vision board in my room a couple years ago that my cousins came in and were laughing at me. But
story of my life.
But it's so important to have one.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Councillor Jibs, for being on this segment. We had a wonderful time talking with you. Her information will be shared on our platform. Please make use of this connection. She is a go-getter. I would make use for myself if you don't. Well, thank you guys for joining us. And until next time, this has been Excel. God bless you. Bye.